Port Charles has never been a town that lets secrets stay buried for long. From hidden parentage to clandestine affairs, from long-lost twins to government black ops that bleed into everyday life, the truth always finds a way to claw its way into the light. And now, a new mystery is sending ripples through the canvas, one that could rewrite history, reopen old wounds, and expose a conspiracy that reaches all the way into the past of one of the show's most beloved fallen heroes. Whispers are growing louder that Nathan West's name is about to resurface in a way no one saw coming. Officially, Nathan died a hero, gunned down while trying to protect his family and serve his country. His death shattered Maxie, left James without a father, and closed a chapter that fans still mourn. But what if Nathan's story didn't end the way we were told? What if he was entangled in something far bigger than anyone ever realized, something connected to the mysterious and increasingly powerful director Cullum and a covert project that could change the balance of power in Port Charles forever? According to emerging spoilers, the truth about Nathan's involvement in Cullum's secret project may be on the verge of being uncovered. And if that happens, nothing, especially for Maxie, Anna, and Valentin, will ever be the same again. Director Cullum has been hovering on the edges of the narrative like a storm cloud, a man whose smile never quite reaches his eyes and whose influence stretches far beyond what the public record shows. On paper, he's a high-ranking intelligence official overseeing experimental security initiatives designed to protect national interests. In reality, Cullum operates in a gray area where ethics are flexible, loyalty is transactional, and human lives are often treated as expendable assets. For months, subtle clues have hinted that Cullum is running something off the books, a classified program involving psychological conditioning, memory suppression, and the creation of operatives who can be controlled, activated, and erased at will. The technology feels uncomfortably close to the infamous mind control experiments of the past, projects like the Cassadine brainwashing protocols and the remnants of the WSB's darkest chapters. Anna Devane, with her finely tuned instincts, has felt that familiar chill. She's seen this kind of operation before. She's lived it. And now, the breadcrumbs she's been following seem to be leading her to a name she never expected to see in Cullum's files: Nathan West. Nathan was introduced as a by-the-book cop, a man of integrity whose moral compass seemed unshakable. His relationship with Maxie was built on trust, on the promise of a future free from the deceptions that had plagued her past romances. He was the safe harbor after storms of betrayal and loss. But Nathan also had a complicated history. As the son of Faison, he carried darkness in his DNA, even if he fought every day to prove he was nothing like the monster who fathered him. He worked closely with the WSB, collaborated with Anna on dangerous missions, and had access to classified operations that most civilians could never imagine. What if one of those operations was Cullum's project? What if Nathan, driven by a sense of duty and a desire to protect his family, agreed to participate in something he believed would save lives, only to realize too late that he was stepping into a web of manipulation that even he couldn't escape? Early hints suggest that Cullum's project isn't just about creating super spies. It's about rewriting identity itself. The program allegedly involves neural mapping and memory extraction, allowing the agency to copy, suppress, or alter a subject's recollections. Behavioral conditioning, using a combination of drugs, hypnosis, and advanced technology to implant commands. Psychological profiling, identifying individuals with strong moral cores and exploitable emotional bonds, perfect candidates for leverage and control. On the surface, it's framed as a defensive initiative, a way to prepare agents to withstand torture, resist interrogation, and operate under extreme conditions. But the darker implication is that it can also be used to create ghost operatives, people who can be sent on missions they won't remember, whose actions can be denied, and whose very existence can be erased if they become inconvenient. Nathan's name appearing in connection with such a project raises terrifying questions. Was he a volunteer? A test subject? Or something even more dangerous, a prototype? Maxie Jones has spent years trying to rebuild her life after Nathan's death. She's found love again, embraced motherhood with fierce devotion, and learned how to carry her grief without letting it consume her. But grief, in Port Charles, is rarely allowed to rest. Recently, Maxie has been plagued by dreams, vivid, unsettling visions of Nathan in places that don't quite make sense. In one, he's standing in a stark, white room, his eyes distant, his voice flat as he repeats a phrase she's never heard him say before. It's already done. You have to forget. At first, she dismisses it as her subconscious struggling with unresolved pain. But then, she receives an anonymous message, a single line that sends a chill down her spine. Nathan West was not just a hero. He was an asset. The timing is too precise to ignore. The wording too deliberate. And the implication too horrifying. Anna Devane is no stranger to ghosts from her past. Faison, Peter, the WSB, the Cassadines. Her life has been a battlefield where loyalty and betrayal are often indistinguishable. When she learns that Cullum's classified files contain references to a subject NW whose psychological profile matches Nathan's almost perfectly, she knows this isn't coincidence. Digging deeper, Anna uncovers mission logs from the months leading up to Nathan's death. Operations that were never fully debriefed, assignments that were abruptly sealed under the highest level of clearance. There are gaps in the record, blacked out sections where details should be. And in those gaps, Anna suspects, lies the truth about Cullum's project and Nathan's role in it. Did Nathan stumble onto something he wasn't supposed to see? Or was he deliberately recruited because of his unique background, his law enforcement training, his WSB experience, and, perhaps most importantly, his emotional ties that could be used as leverage? Valentin Cassadine has built his life on secrets and survival. He recognizes the signs of a dangerous operation when he sees them. When he hears whispers of Cullum's project and its possible connection to Nathan, his concern isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. Valentin knows what it's like to be manipulated by powerful organizations. He's lived with the knowledge that his own memories and loyalties were once tampered with. The idea that Nathan, a man who represented everything good and honest, might have been pulled into a similar nightmare infuriates him. And Valentin also knows something else. If Cullum's project is exposed, the fallout won't be limited to the intelligence community. It will spill into Port Charles, threatening families, relationships, and lives that have already endured too much loss. The most explosive theory circulating among fans and hinted at in spoiler circles is this: what if Nathan's death wasn't as final as everyone believes? Could Cullum's project have involved extraction and preservation, keeping operatives in a kind of suspended state, their minds accessible, their identities compartmentalized? Could Nathan's death have been a cover, a way to remove him from the board while still using him as part of the program? Even if Nathan truly died, the possibility that his mind, his memories, or his psychological profile were harvested for further experimentation is chilling enough. It would mean that his sacrifice was exploited, that the man Maxie loved was reduced to data in a system that values control over humanity. All signs point to an upcoming storyline in which the truth about Cullum's project begins to surface. A whistleblower within the agency is rumored to be ready to talk. Files will be leaked. Names will be named. And among them, Nathan West. The revelation is expected to trigger a renewed investigation by Anna, who will stop at nothing to uncover how deep the conspiracy goes. An emotional reckoning for Maxie, forced to confront the possibility that she never truly knew the full extent of what Nathan was involved in. A power struggle involving Valentin and other key players, as they realize Cullum's project could threaten the fragile balance of power in Port Charles and beyond. And at the center of it all will be the question that no one is ready to answer: was Nathan a willing participant, a pawn, or a victim? If Nathan's involvement is confirmed, Maxie will be faced with a storm of conflicting emotions. Pride in his bravery will clash with anger at the system that may have used him. Love will be shadowed by the haunting thought that parts of his life were hidden from her, not out of betrayal, but out of necessity imposed by forces far larger than either of them. Anna, too, will carry the weight of responsibility. As someone who brought Nathan into the WSB's orbit, will she blame herself for not seeing the danger sooner? For not protecting him from being pulled into something that could ultimately cost him everything? And what about James? How will the truth, when he's old enough to understand it, shape his view of the father he lost? Will Nathan be remembered not just as a hero, but as a soldier in a secret war whose rules were written by men like Cullum, General Hospital has always excelled at re-examining the past and finding new layers in stories we thought were complete. Bringing Nathan into the narrative through Cullum's project would be more than a twist, it would be a recontextualization of his entire arc. His death would no longer be just a tragic loss. It would become part of a larger, more complex saga about power, control, and the cost of living in a world where the line between hero and asset is dangerously thin. And as the truth begins to surface, one thing is certain: Port Charles is about to be shaken to its core. The revelation of Nathan's involvement in director Cullum's shadowy project won't just expose a conspiracy. It will force every character, and every viewer, to ask a painful question. How many of our heroes were fighting battles we never knew existed?